In today's video, we're going to be continuing with Chapter 5, so we're still writing equations of lines, but today we're going to learn a new form for an equation of a line called point-slope form. And our goal is to use point-slope form to write the equation of a line. So what does point-slope form look like? So the point-slope form of the equation of a line through x1, y1, right? So this is really just a point on the line. So if I know a point on the line, and I know the line has slope m, our point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And you can see we're going to be filling in three of those pieces of information. I have x1, y1 here, so I'll be plugging those in. And I have m here, so I'll be plugging that. This other y and x will stay just how it is. So let's see what this might look like. Okay, it says write the equation of the line in the graph in point-slope form. Right, so we're looking for a form that looks like this. So we need two things. We're going to need a point on that line, and we're going to need the slope. So we do have a point on the line, right? So we're going to use the given point 3, 4. That's a point on that line. Now, we need to use our graph to find the slope. Now, they've drawn this out here. I actually like doing my rise first and my run. It doesn't matter. It'll give us the same place. But I'm going to go from this point to this point. I know my rise is 1, 2, 3. And that's a positive 3. And then my run is 1, 2, 3, 4. So my slope is 3 over 4. So now, to write that equation, now that I have my point and my slope, and remember for my point, this is just x1 and y1, we're going to plug in. So our formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, and so we're going to plug in our x1, our y1, and our m. So I have y minus y1, which is 4, equals m, or 3/4, times x minus, and x1 is 3. That's point-slope form. Okay, so let's do a couple more practices with that to make sure we've got that form down. All right, so okay, write the equation of the line in point-slope form, right? So we know we need two things. We're going to need a point, just like it says, right? Point-slope form. We need a point, and we need our slope, right? Which we all know is our m value. So the point, they've given us the coordinates right here, so it's nice and easy. Our point is 0, 1. And then our slope, we're just going to get off the graph using our rise over run. So from here to here, I have a rise of 1 and a run of positive 2. So my slope is 1/2. So I know my formula. And again, I would recommend writing this down over and over because that's going to help you memorize it. Our point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And remember, this point here is really your x1, y1. So now we just substitute. So I have y minus 1 equals m, that's our 1/2, times x minus 0. That's our equation in point-slope form. Okay, so now one more. Again, equation in point-slope form means I need two things. I need a point and a slope. My point, I can use this ordered pair, -1, 2. That's a point on that line. And now looking at my graph, my slope, my rise is negative. I have a -2. My run is 3. So my slope is -2/3. So now I know my equation, again, in point-slope form is going to be y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. I'm going to move this up. My My point is just x1, y1, and so I'm going to substitute. So I get y minus 2 equals a negative 2/3 times x. Now I'm going to have x minus a negative 1. I know minus a negative is the same as plus, so I'm going to make that x plus 1. And there's my equation in point slope form. All right, so let's flip and see what else we need to be able to do here. Okay, this is a nice, actually pretty basic example here because they're going to tell you exactly the information that you need. So it's asking you to write in point slope form the equation of the line that passes through the point 2, -4 and has a slope 5. So they're giving you your x1, y1, your point, and your m value. So all you need to be able to do is plug it in. So the biggest piece here is knowing the correct formula for point slope form. So again, I'm going to write it over and over so I remember it. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And now all I have to do is substitute. So I have y minus a -4 minus a negative. I'm going to make a positive. So y plus 4 equals, my m is 5. And then I have x minus x1, which is 2. And there's my point slope form. So here at this checkpoint would be a good point to probably pause, try it on your own, and then compare it with what I get. Okay, so again, in these two examples, they're giving us the point and the slope. All we have to do is recognize that this is our x1, y1 in both of these examples. And then we're just going to plug into point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, and now substitute. And here we have to be very careful with our signs. So I'm going to make a note here. Say, be careful with your signs. Because here, when I do y minus y1, I'm going to have y minus a -5, so I want to make that y plus 5 equals 2 times, and again, with my x-coordinate, I have to be careful. That's going to become x plus 3 because that x-coordinate is negative. Okay, and then the last one here, again, writing out the general formula. And now I just substitute. So I have y minus 9 equals -2 times x plus 1. Okay, so this next box kind of gives us a review quickly of the two forms we have for writing equations of lines. So our first was slope-intercept form, right? And we know we should use that if we are given the slope and the y-intercept, just like it says. So if I'm given both the slope and the y-intercept, then slope-intercept form is the best form to use. Now, on the other hand, I'm going to use point slope form if I'm given the slope. I need the slope for both, but in this case, I need the slope and a point on the line. So let's see what our next example looks like. So now, it says to write in slope-intercept form, and that's something important. We know that our answer is going to have to be in slope-intercept form. So it's going to have to look like y equals mx plus b. So I'm writing in slope-intercept form the equation of the line that passes through the point -2, 5. So they're giving me a point on that line, and they're giving me a slope of -3. So now, if I look back here, they're giving us a point and a slope. And we said that we should be using point slope form. But they're going to want our answer ultimately to be in slope-intercept form. So let's see how this looks. We know that since we're given a point and a slope, we need to start with point slope form. So let's go ahead and get that equation. So again, I know point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And so I have all that information, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in point slope form. And I'll get y minus 5 equals negative 3 times x plus 2 because of that negative 2. So there's point slope form. I have to be a little careful though because they asked for our answer in slope intercept form. So here's what we need to do. We need to take this equation, but we need to get y by itself. So let's see how we would do this. I'm going to recopy this equation up here. So I need to get y by itself, and I need it to look like this. Y equals